What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 21 of Some Kind of Podcast. This is a podcast where we entertain you by discussing what entertains us. I am your host, Christian, and I'm joined today by Cody
Oh, hello.
and Tim.
Hi.
So, going forward, I'm going to kind of be the more so permanent host since at the current time I am the one with the most free time on my hands. So, sorry if that sucks for you, but that's what's going to happen for the next little bit. It's been about 2 weeks since our last episode, but we do have a lot of stuff to talk about in the entertainment industry and catch up on. So this week we'll be talking about a few hot topics in the entertainment industry, including the latest episode of Loki, the latest installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. But first, let's kind of catch up on what we've all been up to. So guys, let's do some EXP grind here. What you been up to?
Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, I'll start. Been watching just obscene, really is the only word that comes to mind. Copious, if you will. Maybe it's a better word. Critical Role. I've just been essentially pledging my life to it. Essentially, at this point, it has taken over everything. I'm pretty much just going to cancel every streaming service I have because, I mean, with an average of 3 hours an episode and it all being free, with the ads on YouTube, but whatever. I'm really not watching anything else, or doing anything else. I don't sleep much anymore. I don't know what food is. There's just Critical Role. I forgot about this podcast.
So when
guys?
it comes to Critical Role, I am still very far behind,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm yet to dive in.
Yeah, you're like...
Are they in a new season now? Is that what's going on?
Okay, all right. So I'm in campaign 1. So it's like 4 years old now. And they just, and Cody might talk about it in his EXP grind, because when I say they just, I mean it happened last week, or maybe the week before.
It was the week before.
Where they just wrapped up campaign 2. And they're doing this side thing now called Exandria Unlimited, which Cody is, he's gonna watch it anyway, so I don't feel as bad about it anymore. But he's kind of letting me know if it's safe for me to watch, to make sure it doesn't spoil anything in what I'm currently watching, because they posted this thing on Twitter that said there's no major spoilers for either campaign, but there were some mild ones for campaign 1, which is what I'm watching right now. So Cody's been screening everything for me, and the only thing that he said there was some mild spoilers about something, but I just watched the episode that he said there was mild spoilers about, so I'm tentatively about to watch that. But yeah, I know nothing but Critical Role now. It is the center of my universe. Matt Mercer is my Lord and Savior now.
Welcome, my child, to the flock.
Yeah. I don't know anything but him now. Is it High Noon? I don't know. I'm just kidding. Matt Mercer voices McCree in Overwatch.
Yeah.
You had some devastating electronic news lately. You want to tell everyone about that?
I came home Friday night. My TV died. It won't.
I thought you were just gonna stop there. I was like, "What a story! Bravo!"
I mean, if you really want to know the tragic news, that's what happened. And I came home Friday night and it wouldn't turn on. I was watching Critical Role on it earlier that day, and I was like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna go to work now." And I came home and we bought D&D Dark Alliance, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And I've yet to play it because, again, Critical Role is life. So yeah, I tried to turn my TV on to watch more Critical Role. Or actually, sorry, I lied. I tried to turn my TV on to play games with you guys, and it wouldn't come on. I can hear it. I can try to make selections. I can hear it, but there's no picture. So after about an hour and a half of watching YouTube videos and trying to do troubleshooting and whatnot, I bought another television because I gave up. So Well, then, because the nearest place they could take it to like get looked at was in Laurenburg, which is nowhere near me. So,
Yeah, that's far.
like, all right, guess I'm ponying up $500 and buying a new TV. So I bought a new TV. It'll be here Thursday. Um, Essentially, it's like my old TV, except I bought a higher quality version.
I was
It's
gonna
a
say
bit,
$500 is probably a pretty good TV.
yeah, it's a bit smaller than the TV I had. My TV was currently 60 inches. I got it. This one's 50, but it's a better quality TV from what my understanding has been. So, um, yeah, if it's not Critical Role or my job, which has gotten busier, which I'm not going to say where I work, but um, my job's gotten busier. So if it's not been Critical Role, it's been that. And unfortunately, the bad thing about Critical Role is I've gotten to the point in the show where they started doing their own talk show, and I was like, all right, I'll check this out and see what it's like, because I figure like you're gonna give some backstory on like the campaign and stuff like that, some cool insights, and they do. And the problem is that I also like the talk show,
Which is
so
like an hour long.
which is like another hour to hour and a half long, depending on like what's happening. So I was telling Cody before you joined us, Christian, that like I can't watch the talk show because I'll be stuck in campaign one for the next 20 years. And I'm not going to do that to myself. So I'm only going to watch the show on like if there's a big moment that happens in one of the episodes, then I'll watch. The show is called Talks Machina because the group of adventurers in campaign one is called Vox Machina, so it rhymes. Um, so I'm not going to watch Talks Machina unless something big happens in the campaign.
No, that's fine. I think that's because I didn't keep up with it for campaign 2 either.
Yeah,
It was I honestly just went back and like when big things happened, I watched.
yeah, which is
Um,
pretty much what I'm going to do.
yeah, I mean
Or,
it's fun.
like because I'm trying now. Now they're getting like closer to like. I mean, I know I'm still like 30 episodes away from the final fight or whatever. But now that they're getting in more like the end campaign kind of stuff, I've been trying to watch more than I'm listening on my because the reason I got so far is because I was doing it on podcasts and when I was at work, not doing much of anything. I would just throw it on and listen to an episode.
Yeah,
But now like they're getting into like the bigger fights and like there's more crazy stuff happening. I've been trying to actually watch it more.
yeah,
Um, so there could be like if I'm just at work and wanting something to listen to, I might put on an episode of Talks Machina just to like have something to listen to. But I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna try to watch the rest of campaign one.
it's worth it, and so is like the beginning of campaign 2.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure with just like campaign one, it'll get to the point where I'm like, okay, they're not really doing a whole lot right now, so I can kind of listen to it for a
yeah,
little bit. But like the bigger fights, especially like when they fought Kevdak in, in
that
number
was
one,
a good one.
when they fought Kavarn, a lot of K names. Uh, I watched those episodes because those are like the big fights that like everything was leading up to this, so I
Yeah,
watched those. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and I watched Fast Nine. I did watch Fast Nine, so I guess life isn't totally Critical Role because I did manage to sneak in 2 hour and 40 long minute Fast and the Furious movie. But we'll talk
It
about that
was a
later.
long one. Yep.
yeah.
Uh,
Cody, what have you been doing, or Christian, what have you been doing?
yeah, Cody, what's up, man?
I was gonna say, Tim. Really, the only thing that they mentioned in Exandria Unlimited is like they start in Iman,
Yeah. Okay.
and so they mention like Thordak's pit and the tear into the fire plane.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, feel like we knew the pit was there, but at the same time, I was like,
I knew. Okay, so now that I've watched the fight, I know the pit is there, but they're currently in the pit right now. 'Cause
right,
that's how the Thordak fight ends.
yeah,
And I kind of knew about the tear of the fire plane. I knew he came from the tire plane, and there was something that was going on with that, but I don't know exactly what it is.
um. Didn't they do the episode already where they went through the tear?
Uh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I knew about the fire plane tear.
When they stole Chris Hardwick's broom?
That wasn't the fire plane.
It was right before it, right?
It was leading up to the fire plane
Yeah.
because they get one of the vestiges there.
Yeah, they get Pike's armor, I think. Maybe.
No, then they go back because they definitely did something in the fire plane with Chris Hardwick, but they just went to the fire plane to get Pike's thing because they fought the Pit Fiend.
Right. Oh no,
Anyway,
they were closing it with Chris Hardwick's character.
oh, they closed the they
Yeah.
closed the tear.
And then Laura Bailey, being her greedy self, stole his broom, and that was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, and then she became chaotic neutral because of that.
Yep. Um,
Anyway, sorry to bore you, Christian.
Welcome to the Critical Role podcast, where all we talk about all day long is nothing but Critical Role. I am your
Anyway.
host
my
today.
life right now. I said critical. It's. I mean, you can't see it right now because my TV. I'm in my room. My TV is broken, but I'm in my room with another TV. I mean, you can't see it right now because it went on its screensaver. But I was watching Critical Role when we came to do this.
So to talk about something other than Critical Role, so Critical Role Campaign 2 ended couple weeks ago. That was really cool. So yeah, Christian, you're like 300-ish episodes behind.
It's like, like those long animes. Like, I'm just too far behind at this point. There's no point. I'm just...
No, there's a point. It's really good.
Yes, but unlike animes, Campaign 1 and Campaign 2 don't have a whole lot to do with each other, sort of, kind of, maybe.
Yeah. It's like they do, like, there's, with Campaign 2, it's like there were subtle things that were different. Anyway, this isn't a Critical podcast.
Could be.
Futures.
Welcome to Some Kind of Critical, where we talk about Critical Role. And
anyway, so I watched that. Got all caught up. I did watch Exandria Unlimited. It's not as good. Just be real.
Is it because Matt isn't DMing?
Matt's not DMing. He's playing. And,
I know that, but is that why it's not as good?
Yeah, to me. I mean, the girl that's doing the DM, the woman that's doing the DMing, she's good. She's just I think it's her first time DMing, so she's very like nervous about a lot of things. Like it's entertaining. I mean, Matt's hilarious.
Per usual.
Yeah. So I mean, like it's worth watching. I'm gonna keep up.
But
with
he's
it.
happy to be playing.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I watched that, and then I did finish, and platinum Ratchet and Clank this week.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to mention. In the midst of my Critical Roleness, I platinum Cat Quest.
Bravo, man. I am so glad you took a break from all the other games to play the game. From what I actually heard, is pretty fun, though.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's fun. Second of all, instead of playing, Ghost of Tsushima, which I haven't finished, or, any other major title that's come out in the last year, I downloaded Cat Quest 1 and 2 and Platinum Cat Quest. And it only took me like a day and a half. So it wasn't that bad. But anyway, go ahead. You Platinum Rift Apart?
Yeah. Of all of us, I would have thought that I would have been the one to get Cat Quest, but it was Tim. For those who don't know, I have 2 cats. Anyway. I finished Ratchet and Clank. I got all the gold bolts on my first run. The only thing I needed to do to get the platinum for the second run was just play it so I could buy the grenade launcher gun, and then I got the platinum.
Very cool.
So it was pretty good. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
So what about it? We'll get back to this in a second, but what about it didn't make sense?
The story and how they did things. So hear me out. So that there's this one thing, the Dimensionator, that can open up a hole into another dimension. It breaks and causes things to go kooky, out of control. Keywords being out of control. Yet somehow everyone can control it. And it really bothered me.
So who do you mean by everybody?
Well, Zerky Jr., his that whole bar in the arena was just literally inside like a pocket.
Okay,
and then
we'll dive into this more in a minute.
And then at any given point in time, the bad guys could just open a portal and show up wherever you were, even though they didn't have a dimensionator.
So I will say that wasn't the bad guys doing it. That was Nefarious doing it and throwing bad guys at you to stop you from getting to your goal.
Right, but he didn't know how to use the dimensionator. That was literally like the biggest point of the game.
Didn't at first.
He didn't literally until the end, and he was like, he even like told his alternate self, he's like, it took me like I don't even still don't know how to use it, and he's like, that's because you didn't have a map.
As far as the Rift stuff, I will give you that one that doesn't make a huge lot of sense on the plot line. However, my defense is if you look thoroughly into almost any single movie or anime or game, there are plot holes like that. It's like, this is really cool, but it doesn't actually make sense.
I'm not crapping on the game. I love the game. I absolutely I platinumed the game. I will probably play through it again. I'm just saying. I mean, we literally just watched a movie that made literally no sense. So
it's true.
But like
talking about the Academy Award-winning movie for Best Picture at Fast 9.
Yes, exactly. My whole thing was like, yeah, every game, movie, or whatever has plot holes, but the plot holes were literally like the basis of the game. It's literally called Rift Apart, and the rifts were the plot hole.
You know what movie had a lot of plot holes in it? Holes.
Not okay, so it had plot hole in the sense of they used the rifts to their advantage because it was one of the core functionalities of traversing the game and actually getting from point A to point B, like you said, summoning enemies. But it still didn't interfere with the story, though.
No, it worked perfectly for their story for what they needed. But I'm just saying, like, even like in the arena, like they put you through a portal to fight certain things. Like they put you through a portal to fight like the zombie T-Rex thing.
Yep.
Like how are they controlling it?
They're not.
They don't have a dimensionator, but they're in full control of it.
But it's happening.
That's what I'm saying. Like it just
That's just because you're talking poo about his game.
I'm not talking. I loved it. I'm just
Well,
saying.
he's talking poo.
I'm just saying.
I'm taking your platinum away from you. You don't actually get that anymore.
There were some.
I'm petitioning Sony.
Glaring plot holes that.
Currently typing an email to Insomniac. Please take Cade Starkiller's platinum away. He does not deserve it.
Anyway, I love the game.
Send.
I love the game. Even if I hated the game, it gets 5 stars because once you upgrade the, I forgot the name of the gun, the one that like pulls things out of other dimensions. That's not the Dimensionator.
The Googleizer.
You know, the plot hole gun that does what the main gun's supposed to do. Anyway, you can pull literally Jack and Daxter.
4 letters.
Gun. The plot hole gun.
Oh yeah, Rhino.
There you go.
Yeah, the Rhino. Yeah, which does what the Dimensionator does, but you know, it's fine. Only one gun's supposed to be able to do that. Anyway.
Anywho, this is another part of the thing that I was gonna get to. So, do we want to move past Rift Apart for just a few minutes so you can tell me what the rest are doing?
Yeah. Anyway, like I was just saying, my favorite part is that you could summon Jack and Daxter literally into the game, which is phenomenal. So yeah, other than that. You haven't been doing a whole lot. I'm off this whole week because of construction at the office, and I just started building my master grade Gundam model, like the nerd that I am. And that's about it.
It's a master.
So not only did you diss on my game
I didn't
for
diss
a solid few minutes,
you
also didn't even acknowledge that we have been playing Operation Tango and Dark Alliance together. Apparently that just didn't even happen.
Christian, this is the apple pie or whatever the fritter thing all over again. Like I wasn't crapping on Little Debbie snacks, and I wasn't crapping on.
Hear that, Little Debbie? He's trying to save face with you.
I don't need to because I never said anything negative. Anyway,
Who?
Mhm. I
I
don't
was
know.
leaving Dark Alliance and Operation Tango to you because I think your feelings about Operation Tango in particular were way more intense than mine.
You smell that, Christian? Smells like a lot of poo that Cody's
Well,
cooking.
yeah, I'm smelling some bull crap in this
All
conversation.
right, guys, I will see you next
Well, thanks for
podcast.
listening to some kind of podcast.
And 21 is where it ends.
Yeah, we made it this far. Old enough to drink. Anyway, go ahead.
Uh,
Old
um,
Operation Tango.
so,
I hope he's still recording us because he went off screen.
I am.
yeah,
Okay, he's back.
okay. Uh, I also Platinum Rift Apart. But moving on from that, we'll come back to that later. Anyway, like we were saying, we have been playing Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, which
Yeah,
is
how is that? Because I was supposed to play with you guys, and then I totally didn't never do that.
because of the TV thing, yeah. It
Yeah.
is a game that should not be priced at $60.
And it's not.
Right, it's only 40.
It's only
You paid
40.
for the deluxe edition.
Oh, that's right. That's where I'm getting the price point from. Yeah, that's what I get
So
for
they did it correctly.
pre-ordering.
Go on.
And
Go on.
I'm not even sure if it's worth 40 though.
I think it's worth it. I think 40 is fine. I would have
Okay,
liked it more at
so-
like 25, but
My biggest grievance with the game is that the enemies are glitched to high freaking crap.
yeah.
Like the mechanics, like they kind of make sense, and then like you'll be fighting an enemy and it'll just be like spam. Okay, did it teleport? Is it somehow behind me now? And then it one shots you
Well,
and then kills you.
you pissed off your DM is what you did.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's just it's very buggy. And I'm sure that they'll patch things as they go, but like it feels very unpolished.
Also, the one thing I was really excited about the game was that since it is a Dungeons and Dragons game, I was thinking back to our time that we all spent with For the King, where it was, you roll some dice, you take those into a consideration as to actually if your attack is successful, so on and so forth, just like in a D&D environment. And that's not at all how it is. This is basically like the old Lord of the Rings game back on PlayStation 2, where it's just kind of hack and slash, build up your character. You kind of have a D&D like score sheet where you build up your points and your different stats. That's kind of as close as it gets to the D&D realm. I mean, you're more familiarized with that, Cody, than I am, but am I right?
Yeah, you definitely have a character sheet for your character. And you can plug in stats to any of the main stats when you level up, just like you would in D&D. And they affect different things. But then outside of that, yeah, it's just an RPG. Kind of hack and slash. I mean, I like it. It's a lot of fun. It's just very buggy.
Yeah, and so I think the thing is I don't think I will ever play this game by myself.
No, definitely not.
If you guys are on, I will happily like drink a beer and just have fun with it, and it'll be a good time. And I'm looking forward to playing, putting more hours into it. But it's definitely not friendly, and I think they were actually pretty transparent about that. I think I saw a tweet or something from the developers saying that, like, I mean, you can do it solo, you're not gonna have any fun, but
Right.
And then speaking of co-op games, as we also mentioned, Operation Tango, which Tim like opened up Cody and I's minds to this a few weeks back because I didn't even know this game was a thing. I
Yeah,
didn't even know this was coming to
surprised you guys
PlayStation
got
Plus.
I'm surprised you guys got it.
Yeah, it was
And
free.
yeah, it was free for
So,
the month.
I'm kind of curious to see what your thoughts are on this because I wonder if they're the same as mine.
How far
So
did you make
I'm
it?
not, I'm
I got
yeah.
to level 4.
You didn't
Did you
finish
beat 4?
No.
Okay. So fully transparent here. My inner like ego kicked in
Or maybe
on our
we
last
did.
podcast.
I don't remember. Either
Okay.
we even got to level 4 and got past it, or we gave up because it was so hard.
Okay. My inner ego like kicked in when on last podcast when you were like, it was way too hard. There's way too much communication. It's really just stupidly just doesn't make sense and all
It's
sorts of stuff.
super hard, super quick.
And I was like, I got this. I can do this. And I was like, Cody, we can do this. Well, let's like surpass them. Let's finish the game, and then come back and be like, yeah, we totally just like nailed it.
Got the
Went all
platinum
the way
trophy.
through. Got the platinum. Just like and no,
Took 8 hours.
no. The first mission went okay, and then after that, I I think it was mission 2. There was this specific mini game where I was getting so pissed because I was trying to move left and right, and Cody was trying to move up and down, and I was trying to get this stupid ball to
We were
enter this like little
losing it.
circle, and we were laughing hysterically because we just freaking couldn't do it. Like it was like impossible. And then we finally got it into the little thing, and then it was good. And then we were able
Thing
to
I
move
was
on.
talking about because like I was trying to tell Steven what I was doing, and I was like, okay, you have to go up, and he was like, there is no up for me. And I was like, okay, well, what are your directions? And he was like, I got east and west. And I was like, well, I got up and down, so I don't know what we're supposed to be doing here.
Yeah, so it
finally we recognize in that one scene is that like in every room you go into, like the directions change for the person that's in the room. So you need to figure out where north is and then be able to give them the direction from there.
Yeah,
yeah,
So
yeah.
like
So
like how like on who was the hacker?
I was.
Cody,
So like on the hacker there was a bar on each end of like the room. I don't know if you saw it or not, and you think that's where you can't go into, but it's not. The bar is where north is in that room.
Yeah,
yeah, no, it was a humbling experience because after mission 2, it went downhill.
Yeah,
We got through 3 okay, and then we hit 4, and we were just like,
that's
what
the one
the
where you're like the
actual
hacker and you
bleep
have to
is
like.
going on?
That's the one where you're the hacker and you're going through like the.
Yes,
Yeah, dude, that one's rough.
I got to a point where
Like 30 minutes.
I was just mashing buttons at one point because like I like there were things that were prompting that was like, hey, like do this or else your hacker friend's gonna die. And I was just like, I'm just gonna press buttons because I don't even know what's going on at this point. Like I just
Hard. Very humbling, like you said.
but
yeah. Because the
it's
train
interesting
mission
though.
was annoying.
Hmm.
Doing the like password or whatever, and
Yeah.
then
Especially when you do like the color thing. Do you ever get to the color thing?
Yeah, that was the very end of it where you in the control room when you're trying to stop the train.
I think so, yeah. And you gotta like no, not the train thing. I'm talking like the colors. It's in the hacker one.
oh yeah, the like pink, green, yellow, blue.
Yeah, because you have to be like now, now, now,
Yeah.
now, now,
Oh
now,
yeah.
now.
Yeah. No, we did it. We got hung up on one part of that. I mean, we eventually got it, but it's a point where like on Christian's end, he has to align something, but like he can't see what he needs to align. And like on my screen, it was like a line on the left was in one spot, and then on the right it was on the other. And Christian had to align them, and we couldn't figure it out to save our lives.
It was honestly the hardest part of the whole level because we just couldn't get past that. Once we got past that, it was still hard, but it was doable. Uh, yeah, no, I'm almost kind of scared to go pick up the game again in like fathom what like the level 5 is even gonna be like.
Yeah, we didn't get to it. Steve and I took a break, and then we never picked it up again.
I feel bad now that after playing A Way Out, which was basically what we wanted like in this game, like of hardcore communication. You got to communicate back and forth to escape prison, and then it turned out to be almost like a Telltale game, where it's like you're just kind of going through the motions of the story, and you just kind of it's an easy platinum go, and not much difficulty really to it. This is like the co-op game that's the polar opposite of that. This game is like full on. If you're not communicating, you're gonna like have a very bad headache.
At the beginning of the game, it's like this is.
It does. It does. They're very transparent, and even like on the home screen, you can't even get into the game unless you have a partner with you, and they're like, voice chat is required, and they're like, if you need someone to do this with you, here's our Discord server. Go find somebody to actually play this game with. So it is cool, and props to the developers for putting out a game that's like this, because I don't think I've played this co-op intensive of a game since we were like raiding in Destiny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Real quick, I forgot about something. I know we haven't, in case we haven't talked about D&D enough yet. I kind of alluded this to the last podcast, but I started playing a campaign for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Is that still going? Did you stick with it?
Still going. We're about 4 or 5 sessions in. I'm level 2 ranger.
Very good.
Um, I say this with best possible meaning I can possibly get out of this. And instead of like Dungeons and Dragons, it's more like Dungeons and Dumbasses. Because 3 out of the 4 people playing are new to D&D that have never played before, and the DM has never DM'd before.
Mm,
So, I mean, he's done like one shots, but he's never done a campaign before.
Yeah.
Um, and I was very honest and upfront. I was like, "Look, only experience I have with D&D is Critical Role. So, this is, I mean, you're up against God tier, which I'm not comparing him to Matt Mercer because how could you? Um, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'll be playing again tomorrow at time recording. Um, so yeah, you know, but just I want to throw it out there because I alluded it to last week, and
yeah.
I'm still doing it. So
Well, good. Do you think you'll still like? Is there writing on the wall that this group's gonna fall apart at any moment and like
um,
it's gonna stop or?
I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get through the whole campaign just because like there's just so much into secrecies that like like it just there's a good unit, like what I'm saying, like we have a good group of people, I feel, but like there's not that much a team element. I feel like it'd be different like if it was like people that I knew, like we would actually like try to develop like a team and then have a group. I don't know. But the whole reason I'm playing is because I want to try DMing, and I figured that the only way I can really learn about the game itself before I DM is to play a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work on my own one shot to see how I would do DMing.
Do you know what kind of ranger you are?
Uh, Not the Beastmaster, so I'm the other one.
Were they letting you do just standard D&D, or were they letting you use like Xanthar's guide to everything?
I think it's just standard D&D.
Okay.
It's just 5e.
Okay. Well, yeah, no. I mean, Xanthar's is part of 5e. It's just extra
Oh,
stuff.
but then I think Xanthar's is included then.
Um, I wish I had thought about it before. Um, but like, I could help you build like the most OP ranger ever.
No. Well, the other thing is bothering me is that he's using Milestone, which is fine, but like he wants it to be based on character development, and the character that I wrote has amnesia,
Mm-hmm.
so he wouldn't know character development unless he's told that it's character development. So I don't know how I'm level past level 2, which is another reason why I'm kind of like I don't know how long this campaign is going to continue. But I digress. We can move on to other things. This isn't some kind of Dungeon and Dragon podcast. I feel like we've talked about Dungeons and Dragons in some form in the last 30 minutes. So, Christian, next topic.
Usually, this would be the part of the episode where I would say, time for a Metacritic's predictions check in. But you know what? It's been too long. I don't remember the point system, and I'm tired of remembering it or reminding myself just how it works. So, you know what? The point system is getting thrown out the window. I was pulling ahead a little bit. I'm not going to say I was the winner, but I'm just going to say it's gone now. So, we're going to continue on with this. We're still going to touch in with our picks of the year throughout the entertainment industry with movies and games, but we're not going to do the point system anymore because at one point it made sense to me, then it didn't. I reminded myself, and now it still doesn't again. So it's dead.
Well,
Anyway,
I won the Oscar one, so we can just say I won this one too. Anyway, thanks, guys.
sure, Tim's the all-time winner for all of our little prediction ceremonies, so we're
Good
just
to
going to
me.
give him
Sounds good.
DoorDash for an entire year.
Hey,
So yes, okay. So the first part of the Metacritic's predictions check-in.
that was recorded, and I'm holding you guys to that.
I
Moving
didn't
on.
agree to sheesh. Talking mushrooms.
I would like to touch in one last time for a final thought of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Before we
Great
started
game.
recording tonight's episode, I asked him to do a old lookaroo on the internet, and it has standing at it Metacritic of 88, which is I would like to say doing it a disservice because I definitely feel like it deserves to be in the 90 range ballpark. I think it's a near perfect game.
90 range. It's only 2 points away.
It still hurts me to see it in the 80s.
That-
So
That's a solid B
That
plus.
is a solid B plus.
um so have you guys, I can't actually remember how many of the rest of the Ratchet and Clank franchise series have you guys played?
None.
None.
Did you play the remake in 2016?
I started the
Negative.
remake,
Did
and
you see
then
the
I was
movie?
like, "Hey, look at that shiny thing over there."
Yep.
Not because there's anything wrong with the game, just because I have ADD, my guy.
Yep.
Okay, no, you're good. So the thing I love about this game, and that I think is going to be Insomniac's and PlayStation, family as a whole saving grace, is that the fact it doesn't matter if you have ever played a Ratchet and Clank game before, or if this is you've played every single game so far, like as I have, and this is, you're just excited to have an exclusive PlayStation 5 title that is continuation of one of your favorite franchises of all time. It doesn't matter because this game is so good and so pretty that it's going to draw you in and it's going to hold your attention throughout the entire game. And just like Cody said, even though he's never played a game in the franchise, he still wanted to get the platinum. Platinum isn't even that hard to get,
It's
so
really
don't get me
not.
wrong, you don't have to 100% the game. It's really just about 16 hours of your life. You have to beat the game once, play a few glimpses into the second run through, and you'll have the platinum. It's not really that bad. Whereas like in the past, I think most of the games that required you to like get all the gold bolts, get all the collectibles. You don't have to do that. There's trophies that kind of like push you in the direction to try to get you to get all the collectibles. Or like once you collect the first, what is it, 5 gold bolts, I think you get like a trophy.
It's 5. Yeah. You don't even have to complete all of the arena.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's a really trophy hunter friendly platinum, and I appreciated that. Part of me wished that they had pushed for like a more of a 100% completionist on it, but I also like that I was able to get the platinum, feel like I achieved it, and then just the other day I actually went back and 100% of the game. Um,
Christian, I don't want to burst your bubble here, man, and this is gonna hurt a lot. But I didn't play Rift Apart and Platinum Cat Quest, and I looked at the Metacritic for Cat Quest, and it's an 89. So I clearly
uh,
I played the superior game.
this is killing my soul a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. How had
That was a low blow.
I'm just gonna keep trying to push through that and
Let's
pretend
just
like I didn't.
acknowledge and move past the fact that that was worse than everything I said.
uh,
I'll play Rift Apart. I own it. I just
yeah.
don't know how to play it.
But that does kind of segue into my next talking point, and that is the game of the year conversation. When I think about Ratchet and Clank and the offerings that it brings to the PlayStation family and the exclusivities, I totally think it deserves game of the year. Another side conversation on this is that I hate the title game of year because there's like 20 games each year that get the title game of
Every
year.
game that is a major title claims it's Game of the Year, and if they're not the official Game of the Year, they have the Game of the Year edition,
Yeah.
which all
Yeah.
that means is that hey, you can buy it now, and all the DLC is included.
And so what I don't understand is no, there's now a thing called the Game Awards. It's pretty cool. I've been watching it for a couple of years now. Why have they not incorporated something like the Oscar system where you have the best of a specific category where you have like the best animated game, the best horror game, the best action adventure game? Why is that not a thing?
They
I'm kind of
sort of
peeved that it's
do.
not. Ah, do they?
It's like best. I mean, it's more general. I think it's like best open world, best ongoing RPG, best story, best like score. Like it's
There's not the thing about what you're asking, what you're saying,
there's
Christian, is
no genre specific, I guess.
there's not a video game academy like the best game. I think is voted on by people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all done by fans too.
So like it's not a real thing. You know what I mean? Like it's a thing in a sense of like whoever wins Game of the Year like will boast that, but like
Yeah.
it's voted on by like fans.
It's
So
to be honest,
it's not
the
like there's a bunch of
closest.
like stuffy white men being
Yeah,
like, because that's what the Academy is. I'm not.
it's honestly more comparable to, and I don't mean this in a negative way, just like the apple fritter. I'm just saying, in comparison, it's more like the Nickelodeon Choice Awards,
I was gonna say the MTV Movie Awards, but
or
yeah,
that. Like it's honestly, it's closer to that.
So here's the thing though. Okay, so like if they've gone like the game industry has gone through the difficulty of establishing this as an actual thing and all the realisticness. I don't know what word I was actually trying to go for there, but whatever.
realism.
Sure. The Game Awards is actually more successful and bigger than E3. E3 is probably on its last ropes, borderline almost dead. Game Awards, I
Yeah.
think, had more announcements than E3 for the past
Honestly,
like two
when you
years.
said that E3 was happening, I didn't even realize E3 was still a thing.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So the fact that it's already that big, I guess it just irritates me that why doesn't the game industry actually accept it as being like so like if their game is awarded game of year, then yeah, plaster all over your marketing material and be like, yeah, in 2021 I won the game of the year. My game's freaking awesome. But the game industry lost that and it just puts game of the year on freaking every game that's ever made, so it doesn't even matter. Anywho, back to my point, we're talking about Ratchet and Clank. So Tim, you haven't played the game, and this is gonna lead a little bit into spoilers. Do you care?
No,
Are you still gonna play it?
probably
I don't trust you.
after I finish Cat Quest 2.
Ah, I swear to did Cat if Cat Quest 2, the sequel to Cat Quest,
It's
be
not as
ripped apart.
it didn't. It's in a 74. It's not as good.
Okay, thank God.
No, no. And to be fair, Cat Quest is listed 4 times for each individual platform that it's on,
Yeah.
and the PC version scored the 89. The PlayStation 4 version, which is the one I played, got a 74. But I picked the one that was highest because, I mean, it came out on PC first. So
That's really weird though. I don't know why they
there's a Switch version, there's the PC version, there's a PlayStation 4 version, and there's an iOS version that are all scored. But I was like, well, it came out on PC before anything else because it was ported to all those other ones.
right.
Picked the PC one because that's where it legitimately was scored originally.
Hmm. Um,
So
well,
to be fair, combined, Ratchet and Clank did score higher. I just thought it was funny that one of them was scored higher than Ratchet and Clank, and I went with that one for humor.
thanks, man. Anywho,
What was your spoiler?
so a little bit of background. Cody brought up the Dimensionator and kind of like what that does with this game. And it does kind of play with the plot and makes it to the point where it doesn't make a lot of sense. He brought up the point of there's this place in the game. It's essentially the arena part of the game called Xerxes. And in this, that you go up to this thing that looks kind of like a bar, and instead of just walking through the doorway, you essentially walk through a rift into the bar. Don't really get why they did that because they could have just made it where you walk into a bar and enter an arena and it
Didn't
would
make
have
any
still
sense
made
to me.
sense. Anyway, um, the Dimensionator that like is causing all these rifts at the beginning of the game gets broken up because the Nefarious of the beloved franchise's home world or home dimension gets destroyed in a fight between Ratchet and Clank and Nefarious, who notoriously has lost to Ratchet over and over again, sick and tired of losing, and then finally, I think basically just by sheer dumb luck, actually teleports him to a world where he always wins. And so, spoiler alert, he brings him to another dimension where he's actually with his doppelganger, Emperor Nefarious, who actually is like kicking butt in this dimension. And Rivet, which is the game's newest protagonist that gets introduced here, is the leader of, or one of the main core members of the Resistance fighters that are fighting against Emperor Nefarious. And then you team up with her, Ratchet and Clank, and a Clank's alternate version of himself called Kit. And so I was hoping by the end of this game, if it was fully explained, if Rivet and Kit were literally just gender bent alternate reality dimension versions of Ratchet and Clank, and it wasn't really. At one point, it was kind of hinted at they might be, but then once you go to the Lombax planet where a bunch of your ancestors were at one point, it actually starts to dive into how the Dimensionator was originally created by the Lombax species, by one of your ancestors, and he was actually traveling through dimensions, tracking all the different things, and realizing that the Lombax were getting hunted down and they needed a planet to go to run away from their impending doom. Doesn't really go a whole bunch more into it other than that, other than kind of hinting at that maybe it's not an alternate dimension version of Ratchet. It might just be two different Lombaxes that were spread amongst the many dimensions out there to safeguard them and keep them away from whatever this overarching power is or whatever that was hunting them. I kind of would be in favor of that more so than just saying like, hey, here's this new character. It's basically just female Ratchet, and yeah, here you go. I would much rather it be like, hey, at the beginning of the next game or some point in the franchise, it's like, yeah, this person like scattered the remaining Lombaxes throughout all these dimensions to keep them safe until they were like old enough and strong enough to band together to fight off whatever this impending evil is. Where the game ends, you end up defeating both Doctor Nefarious and Emperor Nefarious and saving both dimensions. And then it kind of leads into a bunch of like clips of Rivet and Clank and Kit and Ratchet all hanging out together. And the last thing that Ratchet says to Rivet before the credits kind of hit is that, hey, like I know you need to get back to your own dimension, maintain, order there, but before you do that, let's make one more trip, kind of insinuating that they're going to go actually find the dimension where the rest of the Lombaxes are and find out what's going on from that. Which kind of leads me to my last point, which was Insomniac made a posting for a multiplayer hiring for about 4 different positions. And I'm curious if this is a co-op game for the next one, or just a multiplayer game of some sort for a new Ratchet installment that encourages some sort of like Lombaxes banding together to fight a new force of some sort. Do you guys think it's that, or do you think it's more so Insomniac going like a multiplayer Spider-Man route, which is kind of really their only 2 IPs at this point?
I
But I don't know.
see. I see 3 different possible routes. I could see a Ratchet co-op. I could see a Spider-Man co-op, or I could see another like kart racing game that would include all of their IPs and characters in the Sonyverse.
Ratchet
Mm-hmm.
and Clank go karting.
Also, they did confirm in the game that Kit is Ratchet Clank's alternate. They didn't confirm Rivet and Ratchet.
Oh,
They just
but
sort of
Rivet
like,
is, or
but
sorry, Kit is
yeah,
Clank's alternate
yeah. When you go to the like, I don't know, void dimension or whatever with the crocodile dude,
with Gary.
yeah, Gary actually
Gary.
says he's like, what do you think of Clank? And she's like, she compliments him, and he's like, not bad for an alternate. And she's like, yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better alternate or whatever. Like they fully
Okay.
acknowledge that, but I don't think they ever, you're right, like confirm that Rivet is just female Ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because another thing too is that, well, I guess with the exception of Clank, I mean they're robots, but there's not all the other characters represented in this alternate dimension aren't none of them are gender bent. Like they're all still like the same, representation of character, just slightly different personality and maybe a different career path. The
one of
captain,
them was race bent.
who was this?
The weird, was it Quirk or Quark?
So I don't know if that was supposed to hint that he was race bent or if it was just that he had just makeup on or something. I know what you're talking about. He had like a
Well,
very like almost red aura.
in the credits, when they were doing like that very like hand drawn like sort of montagey thing,
Mm-hmm.
with they showed a few images of them, and he had very brown skin.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
like I couldn't tell through the whole game. I was like, did they go with a different race? Did he like? Are they implying that he just like tanned really hard. Like I'm not really sure what they were going for there.
Yeah, what's hard about it is because I mean, like, so the original Captain Quark, the like, superhero that's not from the franchise in your home dimension, uh, has like this green latex suit that's really bright and shiny, and so
Yeah,
like it's always kind of reflected onto his skin, kind of like a greenish glow. And so in this alternate dimension, his alternate version of
it's
himself
red.
is red and
Yeah,
has like a reddish glow kind of hitting his face. So it's hard to tell if they're like insinuating that he's race bent or if it's just the suit being really weird. But
yeah. I'm basically just going off the credits. Um,
no,
it was more clear because like Quirk, is it Quirk or Quark?
Quark.
Quark. Uh, his skin was white as could be in the credits. So I was like, that's interesting. I was like, I guess they just race bent him because I mean, like Pete, Rusty Pete was like, I was he Southern?
I don't know really what they were going for.
Like
The
I know you said
original,
like like you can play the game and not have played the other ones, and I think that's 100% true. But I think it helps in terms of like knowing
it
the
does. So
characters.
yeah, so like at the beginning, it was a nostalgia trip for me because at the very beginning of the game, you're going into this parade that's for Ratchet and Clank, and they're going through these different floats. That's actually like, the very first one is when Ratchet finds Clank crashing down onto his planet where he's been hanging out being essentially a mechanic since childhood and picks him up, and then like they become the dynamic duo that like carries into the rest of the franchise. And then it goes to an next blimp where it shows like all their like monumental fights and the things they've overcome together over the years. And
Yeah,
even if you don't know anything about that going in, it's still cool because it's still kind of like a here's you catching up in like a really quick scenario, but it still helps a lot to actually know what's going on.
yeah. Because I was gonna say like, for me personally, I didn't care at all about those floats.
Right.
Like they were like, "Oh, this is their first battle," and I was like, "I don't know what any of this is, so I don't care. Let's just get to the story."
Hmm.
And like nothing against the game, I really did enjoy the game. It didn't hit home with me because I hadn't played the other games.
Right. Um, Yeah, no, I think this game is probably the closest I've ever felt that a game's come to being like on par with one of the best animation houses like Disney,
Oh, I'll
Pixar,
agree with
whatever
that
you
for
want to say.
sure, for sure.
Insomniac has done amazing job here, especially if you look back. There's some like timelines online that you can like see Ratchet through the years. Ratchet, like I'm as of compared to like a lot of other game franchises, if you look at where he started to where he is now, it's like wow, he did that character did not look great during the original game. Um, but yeah, so the other part of our Metacritic predictions check-in update, whatever you want to call it, is the Fast Saga. So Cody and I literally just saw this. Tim saw this a couple days ago, right?
Yeah, I think you saw it early in the
Yes,
week.
I saw it on Thursday.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. And so this was like a joint collective decision to add this to our movie list of most anticipated things coming out this year. So a quick synopsis on this. I mean, spoiler alert, by the way, we're gonna go again into this one as to what we think, our history with the franchise, and how ridiculous they all are. But the latest one, of course, is Fast Nine. Dom Toretto is living the quiet life off the grid with Letty and his son, but they know that danger always lurks just over the peaceful horizon. This time, that threat forces Dom to confront the sins of his past to save those he loves most. His crew soon comes together to stop a world-shattering plot by the most skilled assassin and high-performance driver they've ever encountered, Dom's forsaken brother, John Cena. So
Family, the movies.
Tim also was kind enough to pull this Metacritic for us, which is at a 58. And I think that kind of speaks to this franchise. It's not gonna win an award. It never has, and it never will.
Nope.
If you've seen,
Excuse me, you're talking about the Academy Award winning Best Picture movie, Fast Nine, right?
yeah, yeah, very same.
Make sure you use its whole title.
I gotcha. We were actually talking about this briefly right before we started recording, and if you've seen four, Fast and the Furious 4, uh, you pretty much can stop watching it if you don't actually enjoy the movies
Yeah, they
because
have a formula, and they're just sticking to it because their whole thing is if it ain't fixed, don't break.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
it's all right, man. We're all tired. I'm not gonna give you any shit.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Uh, but yeah, so if this the latest installment is no different from like the past, like however many years of the Fast and the Furious saga, I guess as they're now calling it. Um, the one thing that like was my question leaving this movie that I asked Cody was that okay, so spoilers again. This movie brings back characters that we haven't seen in a very long time from Fast and the Furious 3. And I was kind of curious where 3 took place on the timeline because we've seen
Don't
them
fix what
all
isn't
almost.
broken. Is what I was trying to say. Don't fix what isn't broken.
All right. And yeah. So anyway,
Anyway,
the
3 comes between 6 and 7.
Yes.
becomes the 6 and 7. Okay. Because
Yes.
then
The
other
timeline, because it all evolves around Han, and when Han dies, and he dies at the end of
Tokyo
7.
Drift.
No, he doesn't. But in place, it's
Oh
after.
yeah, in place it's at the end of 6.
okay.
Because Jason Statham is the bad guy or whatever in 7.
Okay. Um yeah, so it's other than that, like it goes chronologically in order, throughout time.
Yeah.
Of course, Paul Walker passed
Oh
away.
no, because isn't there a thing with Letty?
That's 4.
Okay.
Look, the timelines, like the order of the movies chronologically is fine. You just have to stick Tokyo between 6 and 7. But like the timeline in general doesn't make sense. And if you think about
Right.
it, it makes your brain hurt.
So the creative directors behind this franchise have clearly made crap up as they went because they have overcorrected and redone many plot points to make it somehow quote unquote okay to bring characters just back from the dead and be like, oh, we know we totally killed him on screen, but it was okay. It was actually planned and he didn't actually die. AKA, Han is now back, even though he tragically died at the
That's not
end of
even a
3.
that's not even a spoiler.
It
They
was in
did
the
that in the
trailer.
trailer. Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
He's on
Totally
the
gave away
he's
him
literally
life.
on the poster.
Yep.
Um, and so yeah, they were just like, oh yeah, like when my car blew up and everyone thought I was dead. Yeah, I went through a trap door in the bottom of my car through the earth, and I'm
You
okay still.
think that was what happened because he's just there, right? Like, I'm dying, and then like somebody like walks past him, and then he's just not there anymore. Like it was almost like he was like a ghost. He was he was
Hologram or something.
Tupac at
Yeah,
Coachella.
I don't. That was the most lazy explanation of how we brought a character back I've ever seen. Because like, if you look at Tokyo Drift and the why he was in the car at the time, like he was running away from like the Yakuza boss's kid that was trying to kill him, and then he flipped and crashed his car. Like, there's no way that was planned, and
For sure.
at no point, because they show that car chase from start to finish, does he ever get a chance to stop that car and get out and put robot hologram behind the wheel. And when them putting Jason Statham in it was also kind of dumb, but whatever.
Yeah, it also made no sense why Jason Statham killed him at the end of 6 or whatever.
I mean, they explained it that it was payback for what they did to his brother,
Yeah, sure, okay.
but it's still dumb. But like, he looks at him, he's literally like bleeding out and like injured, And then yeah, he just walks past and he's gone, and then he's just standing over next to Mr. Nobody, perfectly fine, not a scratch on him. Doesn't make any sense.
I believe they just write it off with the throwaway line of like, he has a way of making things look real.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, it's the greatest magic trick I've ever done. So yeah, no, it was. Look,
If you've seen Fast Four or Five,
yeah,
you've seen Fast Nine.
I love
It
these
even
movies so
it
much.
even ends on the same note.
It does.
You're all at that house that's
Being
still being
rebuilt.
built. It's still being rebuilt.
Okay, yeah, can we? Okay, this is what I'm talking about. The timelines. Again, I love these movies. I own literally all 8, including Hobbs and Shaw. Or 9, I guess, including Hobbs and Shaw, on 4K, like the collector's set. Like, I love them. They're so bad. I love them. Um, the timelines don't make any sense. So, Dom is with that police chick from Brazil or whatever.
In Fast Four, yeah.
In Fast, they meet in Fast 5 and they're together in Fast 6. And then like at the beginning of the movie they're together, and then that's when The Rock shows up and is like, Letty's alive. And then he just like, sorry babe, I gotta leave you because she's back now, so bye. And then that's it.
Yeah, she's cool with
Right.
that. Like, okay, yeah, I get that.
So beginning of this movie, Mia is pregnant. She's not showing, but she's pregnant. She's got like the morning sickness and everything. Like, it's very early. So Mia
In Fast Nine or Fast Six?
Fast 6.
Okay.
Okay. So Fast 7, right? You go through the entire events of Fast 6. You get to Fast 7. Brian and Mia have a kid. This is Paul Walker's last movie. He obviously passed away halfway through filming. They have a child, and the kid is like 2 years old or 3 at this point, right?
Yeah.
And Dom has been with Letty the entire time. The entire time. And so then you get to Fast 8. And the whole plot is that the bad guy Cypher, she kidnaps Don's old lover, the Brazilian cop, and their newborn baby. It has been at least 3 years, at probably more like 5, and she just had his baby. It makes no sense at all.
Baby Dom's going back and forth.
Yeah, but they don't ever talk about that, all right? And then in Fast 9, the kid's like 5 years old, maybe 4, and they still haven't built that house.
Nope.
It's been like 4.5 years. They haven't built that house back.
They're too busy building rocket ships on cars to
They
to go to
literally
space.
have like
Also, like,
millions.
isn't it like kind of implied in Fast Nine that like Dom's kid and Mia and Brian's kid are like the same age?
Yeah,
Same age.
yeah, like right around the same age.
Yeah.
Literally doesn't make any sense. And
Yeah.
like, I know it's dumb to get hung up on these things, especially in a Fast and Furious movie when they literally strapped a rocket to a Pontiac and flew it into space. So like, whatever.
I will say, I know we're talking about this off screen. I do love the fact that like they've kind of embraced the "this is ridiculous" aspect, and they've kind of been like doing things, I guess, almost for the chuckles, like when The Rock breaks his arm back through the cast and whatnot, and then says, "Daddy's gotta go to work," uh, and things like that. But they really just full on were just like, yeah, we realize this is ridiculous because Tyrese's character is like, you ever just think that we're invincible?
Well,
And then they're like, nah, man, we're not invincible. We're just lucky. And then the whole entire movie, he's just doing things that are just like, no, seriously, like, we're invincible.
no, because like right before that, when they're on whatever island they're on, he's literally running in a straight line from a Jeep that's shooting directly at him, doesn't get a single shot, tackles a guy through a roof. He's fine. And then like 30 dudes surround him. He picks up an AK, kills all of them, despite
As they're shooting him,
as they're all shooting him, and
no one aims for his
not a
head.
scratch.
Nope.
And I was like, really? This is okay, sure. And you can ask Christian. There were several points in that movie I just went, nope, nope.
Yeah, I love how their whole like thing about getting to space was the numbers add up.
Yeah.
There was no science. There's no trying to explain it through science. Like, nah, just the numbers add up. It'll work, man. Numbers don't lie.
Favorite part of the whole movie though was the whole plot that John Cena just wants a hug.
It was
Yeah,
literally
really,
the plot of the movie.
like they made that such a throwaway line. Like when Cypher says like, "Oh, you just wanted a hug," and he's like, "Haha, yeah, sure, whatever." And then like later in the movie, he's like, "All I do want is a hug."
Yeah, like I know Christian was laughing at me because I almost lost it.
Did lose it.
Yeah, John
I
Cena
kept
cry
it in.
face was pretty funny.
They put him behind this massive concrete barrier, and it has this one tiny little window, and so the whole gang is having a heart-to-heart reunion with Han and his adopted daughter, and they're all like
Giving each
like,
other hugs.
kumbaya, and giving each other hugs, and then it just pans slowly over, and you just see like Mr. Wilson from like Home Improvement back in the day, and it's just like from like the nose up, and he's just looking sad as everybody's getting hugs, and I couldn't help but laugh. Like, it's so ridiculous. It was so bad. I loved it so much.
But hey, at the end of the movie, he got his hug.
He got his hug.
You know what? Family.
He'll be in the next one.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
for
We've already
sure.
casted him for the next one.
It'll I'm sure The Rock will be back, and the Undertaker will be the bad guy, and
I'd watch it.
his cousin. Who did you say his cousin was gonna be?
Stone Cold Steve
Yeah,
Austin.
Stone Cold will be his cousin.
Just do it. Do it.
And then no, Stone Cold will end up being like The Rock's long lost brother.
I will say they did a really good job of picking those young actors because it really did look like a young John Cena and young Vin Diesel.
The young versions of them were really well cast.
Yeah.
I feel
Maybe not so much the John Cena one. There are times where I was like, I don't kind of see how you grow to John Cena, but the Vin Diesel one,
Yeah.
I was like, you're related to Vin Diesel somehow. You're like
I
his
will say,
cousin or nephew or something.
when they were just like, yeah, we're brothers, and like, okay, as far as like a casting standpoint, like John Cena is hella white.
I mean, they mentioned that. They're like,
I know, yeah, I was gonna say that, like, and then minutes or however long later, I think it's Cypher makes the comment of like, man, like I know that like I must have Tarantino. Oh my
Toretto.
gosh, Toretto bloodline has a lot of like mixed blood in it. But and then I think she makes the comment about like
Nordic.
John Cena's chin or
Yeah.
something.
Nordic, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
they're
know, like,
just
they mix
implying.
bloodlines a lot, but like I didn't realize that they tapped into the Nordic region.
I feel like it was just because like they very intentionally didn't ever mention a mother, so my guess is different moms.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his dad was just like hooking up with whoever was in the town he was racing in.
Yeah, but instead of just
I mean,
like leaving
that
the
whole
kid with
pit
the
crew
mom,
was just his children, right?
so
He's like, I need a pit crew. How do I get one for free?
I love Michael Rooker. I love Michael Rooker to death. He's a great actor. He didn't need to be in that movie.
No, that was just like another like, hey, who's somebody of note that we could cast to be a side character?
I'm really excited for his next big adventure into Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 reference. Yeah. All right.
I
Mary
really
Poppins, y'all.
I really enjoyed the movie. I just hate that they've like I both love and hate that they've leaned into the ridiculous. Like,
I mean, at this point, like, just
It's
go
the
with
bread
it.
and butter.
like I think it would have been fine with the stupid like let me drive into this pole and hook my car onto this rope and just like fling us to another island. I could have probably gotten away with that had I not just watched a Jeep cartoon across a falling bridge and then
Yeah, that was
like
bad. That
up a
was bad.
90-degree angle.
I was gonna say the bridge was like all the way down and it just
Yeah,
drove 90 degrees up the side of a cliff.
that was bad. And this is coming from somebody who then 5 minutes later watched a car swing across like
Yeah.
Tarzan from island to island. And I'm here saying like I would have bought the car swinging from island
Yeah.
to island than the Jeep going up a 90-degree hill.
I would have totally been fine with it. I'd have been like, you know what? This is on brand with Fast and Furious. You
I mean,
know,
in what was it, Fast Six? They went from like the building to building in Dubai or whatever.
that was 7.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I was like, you know what? They did the Dubai thing, which is dumb, but you know what? Fine, fine, fling a car. But the
I mean, they
bridge.
also had two like souped up cars carrying a safe through town, so like that is on brand.
No, it is. But the bridge wasn't.
No, no.
They went too far with the bridge.
The bridge was like when you watch a movie and somebody's like running across a bridge that's falling, and then they like go to jump, and like they make it too short, but then like it pans in on the edge,
Yeah.
and you see like the hand come up. That's what that was, except it was a Jeep.
It was that, or like in like the last Star Trek movie they made, where they're like careening off the cliff, and you're like, oh god, are they gonna pull up? And then it like the camera cuts away, and then at the last second they're like, bro, and zoom
Yeah.
up. And I was like, oh cool, they did that shot with a Jeep. A Jeep going
That's not
4-wheel
Star
drive
Spaceship.
up a falling bridge. Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. I mean, let's put this in perspective. In like 5 minutes, John Cena drives his car off a cliff, and a like stealth bomber picks him up. Then 30 seconds later, they do the Jeep scene. Then a minute later, they do like the car across the. Like it was just too much in like a 5 minute span where my brain was like, "All right, they're just gonna go balls to the wall with this movie here, huh?"
Yeah.
I
no,
love how in
it was
every
dumb.
single Fast and the Furious installment, there's some sort of new gimmick that gets incorporated into like the driving sequences. And in this one, it was magnets
Magnets.
for some freaking reason.
I thought the magnet
Like,
thing was pretty cool.
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna
the
lie to you.
magnet thing
That
was
pretty
great.
cool.
It was very clever the way they introduced it, as opposed to just being like, "We're just gonna use magnets." Like, like it was like, "Oh, they're using magnets to freak out all the computers." Okay, sure, that makes sense. And then they were like, "We can use this to our advantage." Okay,
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, no, you're right. They like, what's the big gimmick this time? Last
Also, I didn't
time,
realize until I was watching this movie that Ramsey is totally Missandei from Game of Thrones.
oh yeah.
Like the whole entire movie, I was like, "This girl looks familiar."
Oh yeah. Nope. That's totally her.
Missandei from Game of Thrones.
oh, Ramsey. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about Cypher, and I was like, Charlize
No,
Theron
Charlize Theron.
was not in Game of Thrones.
No, I'm talking about Ramsey.
Yep. I feel like they also like they're still doing this like game where like we don't know if like Ramsey likes Tyrese or Ludacris.
Tej.
Tej, yeah, like they're still doing this like back and forth nonsense. It's been like
I mean, clearly
10
in
years.
Tom's family, everybody has their clicks. You know, like there's Dom and Letty, and they get along better. And then there's like the hacker people with like Tyrese and Tej
Yeah.
and Ramsey, and then there's Han and
Han.
homeboy, old country boy that somehow, even though they never mentioned he's the Drift King, is a rocket scientist now. He went from, king of Tokyo Japanese underground racing to I'm a rocket scientist now. Here's a little bow wow.
It's good. If you enjoy the movies, go watch it. If you don't, there's no need. You've seen it already.
Yep.
It's very predictable. The bad guy becomes their friend. It's like a Dragon Ball Z
Dragon
arc.
Ball Z. Yeah. I mean, from the minute John Screen is on screen as a bad guy, you're like, okay, he's gonna like He's Dom's brother, so he's not going to be like bad the whole
I
time.
wonder if this franchise that's been centered around family will just completely disown a member of his actual family. Probably not.
Anyway,
Anywho, we've talked your ears off about Ratchet and Clank. We've talked your ears off about everything under the sun D&D related. And now we've talked your ears off about the Fast Saga. We were going to try to squeeze Let's Loki, talk about it in here about the latest episodes, but Tim's actually a little bit behind, so we're just going to push that to
instead we're
next
going to talk
week.
about D&D. So I was watching Critical Role.
Shouldn't have even mentioned the words. Shouldn't have even mentioned the words. That one's on me. So, anywho, in addition to the other ongoings in the entertainment industry, next week we'll be doing a deep dive into catching up on Loki episodes 2, 3, and at that point 4. So if you're curious about that, make sure you tune in next week.
Should probably watch.
So what?
I said I should probably watch them.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. You need to catch up,
Yeah.
and they're really good too. So it won't be that painful. So that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Some Kind of Podcast. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment below. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at SKO Entertainers, or visit our website, www.skoentertainment.net, for more information. And finally, don't forget to join us on next week, because even on the best of days, we all need some kind of entertainment. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.